welcome back. Jeez, man.
Hey.
It feels like we've been gone for a long time, man.
It does feel that way.
We are back. It is episode 26 of The Lookout. It is the season 4 premiere. That means we're starting our 4th season right now, 2019. Shout out to everyone who supported us through 2018. That's when we really just birthed The Lookout. We're actually closing in on a year of The Lookout, which is insane to actually.
I know, that's awesome. We're going to have to do something really cool, right?
We're going to have to do something incredible and amazing. We debuted The Lookout the week of the end of Tournament of Power, which to me was probably the best way to kick everything off.
Definitely.
But yeah, we have the season 4 premiere, and what better way to kick off season 4 than to talk about what we've been trying to talk about for the last... 9 months? Damn.
A long time, yeah, a very long time. We've known about
9
this
months
for a while.
Oh my god, we've been talking about Dragon Ball Super Broly, the movie, the cinematic experience, and there is no person who I would rather talk about this movie with than Balvin, man, who joined us earlier in the season, earlier last season. Now he's back, bro. Come on, welcome back to the show, bro.
Thank you for having me. Thank you, guys.
Our guy.
I really appreciate it.
Listen,
I really appreciate it. I'm glad to be back. The hype is being in my veins.
Everybody feels great right now.
48 hours.
You could feel it. You could just feel it like in this room right now.
It's a lot, man.
It is a lot, man. Listen, before we get into the movie, before we really kick things off, because this has just been great. It's bubbling inside of me, to talk about this movie. And it has been for since the first time I saw this movie months ago.
Yeah, because we almost broke it down that one episode, my God. And we had to fall back. So.
He was like, nah, it's not the time. It's not the time. But it'll be worth it.
It wasn't.
It'll be worth it when it's worth it, and it's worth it now. But we got some business to talk about. We need to address the listeners of the Lookout, and we want to thank everybody. Last month, I'm talking about December for a holiday, we had our first Lookout holiday giveaway.
Yep.
We did it 3 days in December, right before the holidays, and I want to give a special shout out to the winners. That is at Wild Dawn 235, at Mito 320, and at Wolf Kicks, who respectively won. I mean, we gave away a Funimation 6-month subscription gift card. So that's 6 months free on the Funimation website. So you get all the dubs, all the subs, everything that you want to sort of hear right on the Funimation website. Then we also gave away Dragon Ball FighterZ. Shout out to the man Quanflix who helped us with this. We gave away Dragon Ball Fighters. I don't know why I said FighterZ. We gave away
FighterZ. Hey, real quick. Talking about that. Whoever won that, he's all, Jaren got announced. Well, kind of got announced today.
Well, I mean, he's in it. He's in it now. So we gave away Fighters and we gave away a season pass. So at this point, if you were shout out to Mito 320, you really came up, bro. Because Jiren, hasn't been formally announced. We haven't got the video package where it's the 60-minute thing where he shows up and he's probably like,
it's coming though. Yeah,
it's probably coming. But man, yeah, you got to enjoy that. And then we also gave away a limited edition San Diego Con exclusive golden Vegito Pop Funko, man. So shout out.
I won this myself, man.
Bruh. All right, can I give you
that shit's hard.
Actually, I can say we had an RNC Radio Secret Santa. We had a Secret Santa in our group chat.
Oh yeah, I guess we can talk about
that. And
right?
Brian gave me that. Brian essentially, he didn't give me the golden one. He gave me the blue.
Yeah, I saw that. I was a little jealous about that.
I'm a little jealous because I'm pretty sure it went over the limit of actually what we were supposed to buy. But you know what?
But you know what? You know what? Plus got me a Goku mug, right?
Right.
And when you put something hot in it, he goes Kaioken. It was pretty dope. I was actually impressed.
Listen, the holidays are so fun with RNC. And shout out to everyone who also, we opened our shop, RNC Radio, at bigcartel.com, and you can purchase our first ever t-shirts. We have the official Lookout t-shirt, meet us at the Lookout, meet me at the Lookout. And then we have what we call its levels to this, and we have a great shirt, all the power levels from the Saiyan Saga on it. It's fantastic. Make sure, if you want to pick that up, it's at rncradio.bigcartel.com. It's a fire shirt. I'm sure you wear it in public. I'm sure you know, you get close. Definitely. Yeah, you someone's gonna notice and be like, "Yo, that shirt is hard."
They're gonna be on StockX soon at $80. So get them while there's $25.
Right, 100%. And you know what? We got some other stuff coming down the pipeline, so make sure you tune into that at our Everything RNC Radio Live. Follow RNC Radio Live on Twitter, and you know, you just stay tuned into everything. But yeah, man, you know, we've been gone for a minute, man. Now we back with the Dragon Ball Super Broly, man.
I got chills, man.
Fuck, man.
It's the best, dude.
I'm doing shit with my hands. I don't know what to do right now. All right. Balvin, tell us about
man. I don't even
your excitement. Just let me into your excitement about before you view this movie or everything like that. Let me know your excitement just now in Dragon Ball world in general.
So it's really a moment just for all, you know, the fans across the world that this is the pinnacle right now of where Dragon Ball has ever been at, as far as like on a global scale, of just with the games and the TV shows and now the merchandise and now the movie. Everything is like the train doesn't stop.
Right.
You know, it just keeps spiraling, and it goes up and it goes up. It doesn't go down. Mm-hmm. And then you see it opened up on a Wednesday, and $7 million.
Yeah.
Whew. Opening day for an anime movie.
Beautiful, dude.
Resurrection F debuted at 1.8 million opening weekend. That was like 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And now look how much we've grown.
$7 million, bro.
I remember going to see Resurrection F, and it really wasn't in any actual commercial theaters in that I can remember. I mean, it may have been for a few days, but when I saw Resurrection F, I literally had to go. You had to go reserve it at this special kind of theater that only plays like these kind of like very niche movies or like anime. And they were just like, listen, if you want more animes to come to, you know, our movie theater, you got to sign up on our newsletter and blah 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 and all this other stuff. And it was just that type of thing. It was still like a quiet thing, even though the fans were like watching Resurrection F. That was an experience the entire time. But just to see this in movie theaters, man,
it's a very low key thing, like you said, Resurrection F. It was not as large as a thing as it is now, and this one is at every theater you can go to. It's not a limited time release. It's gonna be in there for.
It's out.
Yeah, it's out. It's there. You can go tomorrow, the next day, the day after that. Like, you're good. It's at all the good theaters, the uppity ones, the trash ones. Is it ever? Because I know the one I saw that bitch in XD.
Did you see IMAX?
IMAX, yeah.
I did too.
Recliner seats, baby.
Hey, recliner seats. You get the food ordered to me.
Oh my God. I was afraid to see it in IMAX because I thought niggas was gonna have to wish me back. But like I was just, oh my God. I saw it twice. Let me give my experience with just seeing this movie first of all.
Sure.
The second viewing I saw, I don't know what theater I was. I was actually in 34th Street Theater. It was not, you know, the crowd wasn't like that crazy into it. But I tell you, when I saw it opening day, and I went to, if you're from Brooklyn, you kind of know the Court Street theaters, because the Court Street Theater is like one of the most like, it's like one of the blackest theaters out there. It's not Magic Johnson, but it's probably like the Brooklyn equivalent of Magic Johnson, because it's really one of those theaters like you go in to see one movie, but you're really going in to see four. Right. Like you walking into other movies and no one cares. The staff is just like, yo, let me check your bag. Oh, peep. No. All right. Let me tell you, I went in, I probably was there with like 80% high schoolers who just let out of class or whatever.
Right.
Let me tell you how much they went up for that movie. It made the entire experience worth it to see the entire crowd lose their mind at various points. And it's just like, they lost their mind when Bardock came onto the screen. They lost their mind when Vegeta came onto the screen. They lost their mind on all the transformations. Like, it was just an experience that I can only say, and I'm so happy as just a Dragon Ball fan just to experience at this time.
That's real.
My God.
Well, I'll tell you, bro, for me, I hadn't had an experience like that going to see something where everything was so united. I remember like lining up for the first Pokemon movie and like watching it in its prime, and like kids watching it with me, or like,
oh yeah, man. Listen, you
just
had to go to get your Dragonite card first. He's like, yo, let me get that.
Bro, and it's just like, that was what this was. Literally, everybody was in sync at every moment that was special in this film, which just made it amazing. Like, I saw it in IMAX. I had people. Do you have cosplay?
I had one. I had a couple people. I had a couple people with the thing on.
I had a good amount.
That's beautiful.
Like,
it was just a really beautiful experience, dude. Like, if you're just into the series overall, it's like it's almost like not a regular. It wasn't a regular movie experience. Let's just say that. Like, usually I go see movies alone by myself. Like, I like my time alone to do that. But this was like different. Like, I was relaxed and calm, but like it was just it was like we were just all there really to see. You know, usually you go to movies like, all right, let me check this out. Let me check this movie out. But like, this was like we probably everybody in there saw it. Yeah, probably everybody in there already saw it. But we were watching it like it was the first time, and it was a great thing, man.
And the reason why this one was particularly special for me, as far as anything else goes, is I actually took my little brother to see it with me, because he's 12 years old, right?
Right.
I went with my cousin, my homie, and I took him with us. He's like 12 years old. He's seen every episode of Super. I took him to see the Frieza one too in theaters. So it was beautiful to like bring him with me and go see this and like us freak out together again, the same way we did when Resurrection came out, because it was like,
that's awesome.
It's like seeing me, you know.
Yeah,
it was like seeing myself again whenever I was his age.
Right.
Nerd out over, you know, all these original characters like Bardock, because he's seen all the movies, he's seen all the shows, he knows everything as much as I do. So, and I'm to thank for that. But it was a good brother, man. It was just beautiful to see it, because I'm like, I'm doing the right thing.
Oh yeah,
for sure, bro.
You know what I'm saying?
I was always wondering about the disconnect between like our generation, because Dragon Ball didn't really air for a long time, but you know, it's like it's really never lost a step. I'm interested more so, and maybe it's like the big brothers like you. Maybe it's like, you know, the word of mouth of people who are just, how do people get into it? Is it because of the anime community is way more prevalent now with all the socials and stuff like that? Like,
It is weird to think about it, because when it comes to Dragon Ball, it's a very universal thing. It's
like 35 years, man.
Yeah, it's like people that are older than us know about it, and there are people that are younger than us that know about it more than we do, or just as much as we do.
Parents, my mom knows about it.
Exactly.
A bit, yeah.
So it's like, I agree with you, Meals, in that it's an interesting thing to look at. That it's like it stopped coming on TV very early in 2000s. Like it was like, not talking GT and Z, like that's when it was done, was coming into the early 2000s. But like, everybody knows about it, and everybody knows about these specific moments, and they've all seen the episodes, they've seen the movies, so you know. So it's a very universal show that kind of, it didn't fall, and I think it's almost a thing for the video games for that. They kind of carried that generation through like PS2 games and and even 360 games. It really, they're the thing for that, because I genuinely, it's almost hard for me to like meet somebody that does not know what it is, you know.
At least know what it is.
And knows some decent bits about it, and know what Goku is, a Super Saiyan, and all that shit. So it's dope though, that like, and you can't say shit else about it. Like, you can't, I don't care if you like the show or not, you can't deny it at the end of the day. Dragon Ball Z is LeBron.
That's real. And there's times where like, it's one of those things, look, it may not even be your favorite anime, but you know the impact that it has on the culture overall, and that's what makes it special.
Exactly.
Man, it was a beautiful just experience watching the movie. Now we talked about this 2 months ago. I think even when we talked about it 2 months ago, we were essentially like, you know, this is probably going to leak next week. Like, all the spoilers is going to leak, and literally like clockwork, right on time, everything leaked. Even to the following month, the cam rip is online, and people did watch it. Now, in terms of investing within the spoilers, did this ruin? Did you feel like it would ruin the experience for you, or you were just like, "Yo, I'm gun ho. It don't even matter at this point."
I personally didn't. We spoke about it, Millsy. Like, I personally didn't care about the rip. Like, I was like, well, it didn't matter to me. Like, at the end of the day, I was gonna watch the leak, and I knew I was gonna go to theaters to watch, the actual film. So it didn't ruin nothing for me, dude.
I think with Dragon Ball, it's interesting because I've kind of become desensitized to spoilers and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Though, for me, the big spoilers are not what necessarily ruined it. Nothing ruined it, but I would have been better off not knowing certain little small plot lines, like Frieza's wish and stuff like that. I feel like certain points would have been funnier or hit harder.
Oh yeah,
or like would have made a little like tiny differences watching the movie because like I knew what was coming at this point and everything into that and all this and this and that, because I didn't watch the cam rip, but I did see the whenever it premiered in Japan, the synopsis and like pretty much the general rundown of the movie came out, was all over the internet and stuff, and it leaked about who was going to be there and why this was happening and how this was going to transition to this and all that.
Right, you read the movie basically, yeah.
Yeah, so, but that's kind of what was happening during Super 2 as well. Every week, the next 2 episodes would kind of leak out before we'd even see the previews for them. So, but all that aside, nothing was ruined for me in this because of the way they handled it and the way that everything else was just the way it was put together and orchestrated. Anybody could enjoy this movie, regardless if you knew everything or didn't know anything.
Right. And you know what? I think, I did watch the cam rip. I did read all the spoilers. And at some point it was like, all right, I know what I'm getting into. But I generally felt like that just because of the quality of the cam rip, I'm just like, I know there's so much more to appreciate from a visual aspect from this movie. And I know 2 months later down the line, I know the general small things, but I'm not going to fully remember everything. And to me, it was kind of like jog my memory. I'll say I saw it twice. I already hinted that, but I did see it twice. Both times. The second time, I didn't even, at that point, I'd already seen it 3 times, and I definitely saw it on the big screen before, but it still was like an entertaining watch to me. Like, it's a great use of like 80, 90, 100 minutes of just sitting there and enjoying it, and even watching other people react to it. And watching other people react to it was probably the best part of the movie for me, especially with that first watch, because, boy, it's just everyone lost their mind, man. And it's so refreshing to see. So I feel like maybe a small section of the audience actually like really goes in on spoilers like we do, or actually like goes in on like reading the stuff and but I feel like the general audience still is like kind of, I don't know if they're in the dark, but from the way that everything reacted, it was just like they'd seen this for the first time and it was like, whoa, what the heck?
It's genuine excitement, man. Like I said, even if I feel like even if everybody in the theater had watched those spoilers, they were still going to react, because at the end of the day, going to a movie and seeing it in IMAX or seeing it in however form on a big screen, you're going to be excited regardless, man. For something like this, you get to see it. We talked about the cam rip and how it was, I mean, it was watchable, but you know what I mean? There were times where like the guy is like explaining to like his girlfriend or his friend like what's going on or something,
Right.
This was just like it was perfect. It was perfect.
And with that perfectness, let's actually get into the movie, because the movie kicks off. I mean, the movie kicks off like we all thought it was going to kick off, and that's sort of the backstory of the whole, the sins of all the fathers, as we talked about on a previous show. And shout out to X, we talked about that sort of trailer with him a few months ago, in terms of just like the backstory of it all, just telling the story of the sins of 3 fathers and how that plays out with their sons in the present time. And really, I mean, we got a few things. I learned the Cold Force became the Frieza Force, so I didn't know that before.
Yeah.
It was a nice little tidbit in sort of what happens, and then it kind of plays into the story that we kind of got into with the the Broly movie before with, a few scenes, well, actually a lot of scenes a bit different. How did everyone just sort of feel about this sort of history, about the history part? I think I have my qualms with it a little bit, just from the pacing of it. Just because I thought, and it probably, if this is ever translated into an anime version, I probably won't have those same qualms. I think sort of the pacing of it was just like, oh, this is kind of going here and this is going there, and then it's happening, that's happening, and then it's not even, some things were explained, some things weren't explained, and that was probably my only qualm with it. But what did everyone sort of think about just sort of the backstory?
Well, I think, you're probably saying that because you probably felt the same way I did. You probably could have did an entire movie just about that.
Oh yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like the Planet Vegeta, easily. Like it could have just been.
But it doesn't have a good ending, so I don't think it would make a good.
Right, exactly. But like the way the structure of Planet Vegeta and how it actually it's way better than anything. We got real visual. You know what I'm saying? Like real emotion. The characters. Everything for me, like I enjoyed that part of it. I liked seeing, Kid Frieza looks like he's much more evil than adult Frieza, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I think with the intro to the movie, it was okay. I enjoyed it a lot because I like when Dragon Ball gets on its like storytelling shit, and it's like it actually expands on these characters and why they are the way they are, what happened beforehand, how these events tie into how these characters grow up, how their sons grow up, and how everything is kind of intertwined. But I will say, I feel like if they could have, or if they wanted to, the movie should have been a little bit longer. If they were going to start with the history of the Saiyans thing, because all it really was a shorter, more condensed version of the story of Bardock with, Broly in there.
Yeah, some extra
from a different perspective. They had the Ginyu Force in there. That was a nice little Easter egg. They had they showed King Cole passing the torch to Frieza, and Frieza like being the menace that he was, and like
hello monkeys is the best.
And whenever he killed those like 3 snipers, I was out. Bro. I was like, yo, this guy is
because
savage.
It was just one of those things. Like I wasn't thinking this was gonna happen, and he just did it.
Yeah, he's been Frieza his whole life. But it was just weird because like when a movie about being about Saiyans, and obviously Frieza's a main character again in the story, they have to bring him in as well. I just wish we would have been able to see a bit more about the Saiyans themselves, and even expanding on Saiyans that we already know and love, Bardock, King Vegeta, etc. We've never seen King Vegeta fight before.
Nope.
We didn't get to see anything. We saw Bardock for like 5 minutes in the movie.
Yeah.
And obviously there's a whole movie about Bardock. You can go watch it if you want to. But if you're gonna but if you're gonna put him in this movie, you have to kind of not acknowledge that previous film and give the story of him again, even if it's smaller.
I did like the personality that they did give us.
Now, I was gonna say we did see a different side of him this time,
right?
Because in the movie you see the cold-hearted, hard ass, I'm a goon, I'm fucking
renegade, Rambo.
Yeah.
He still has a little bit of that, but it's more pride than anything.
Yeah, we see the dad. We see the dad of him in this one. We see like why he did what he did. We see all that, and it was beautiful. I really liked it. It's just my 2 main issues with the whole Saiyan portion of it was, one, I wish we just got to see a little bit more and saw more interaction, or any interaction between Bardock and Raditz. Raditz was off on a mission with Vegeta.
Yeah.
Nappa and Vegeta. We saw that briefly. All this. We saw. I wanted to see more of the things I saw briefly, because that was one of my main things I was excited for. Is that if you're gonna do like a history portion, I gotta see like the characters I care about
Right.
interact with each other because I had
at a
fear
young
before.
age and at a
Yeah.
different time. Yeah.
And my second qualm, and this is just a stand of me being upset. They skipped Bardock's speech. I was very confused and very like, because so in this telling of it, he didn't go up there, and he wasn't talking cash shit. He wasn't like I'm because in this one,
But I think that's more of the recharacterization of Bardock.
yes,
Of course.
I was going to say it's like I think they changed it up a little bit because he didn't seem like, because it was weird because it didn't seem like he cared.
Yeah,
in this one.
To me,
you know?
I was more concerned about like things like, why is he suddenly so suspicious? I wish they played on
like,
where did that
right.
come from?
Yeah,
exactly.
Like, why is he suddenly so suspicious about things? He's like, this is the first time we see him have a conversation about Frieza. It's like, I don't know about this Frieza. I really think he's gonna blow us up.
Did you guys at least enjoy? They let him attack. They let him attack the Death Ball.
Oh yeah,
that was weird, right?
I was glad, but it kind of
wasn't it weird?
Annoyed me because it didn't make any sense.
It didn't make
to
any
me,
sense.
it didn't make sense that he was. I mean, it kind of made sense that he was the only one, but then it's also like, this is a warrior race. Like, there should maybe at least one other person.
Yeah,
but I feel like maybe that's a story they tell when it goes a little bit longer. But it's just those type of things, like even the Bardock Gine interactions, and it's just like, I love those interactions. I love that we get to see his mom and things, but once again, it's so short. We barely get to even see them with Goku. Much less of anything, or sort of how Goku's sort of upbringing was, how Raditz's upbringing was, and maybe we didn't.
It looks like they don't really have one. It's like Vegeta's a little older, obviously, so
yeah,
he was dealing with a little bit more things. But like Goku was just in a test tube, and let's pull him out and get him out of here because shit's about to go down.
Right, and I think. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, bro.
Oh yeah, I was just one problem that I've always had with the Saiyans in this whole series. That I was really hoping this movie would change my mind. And it's like, if you think about it, besides, our newer class with, our Z Warriors, the Saiyans are pussy. And I was hoping that they would change my perspective on that in this movie. And we got to see something else, from them. And we didn't.
Nobody backed down from Frieza.
It was the same. It was the same thing, and that's fine. Frieza is just apparently like
terrifying.
It's terrifying. His power level is just a whole different level.
I guess that's what they get for him. Killing those 3 Saiyans early on to try to prove, hey, there's no reason to.
And the Saiyans use weapons over like anything else, and it confused me because like when Vegeta grows up, right. Mm-hmm. When Vegeta comes to Earth in Nappa, they don't have any guns.
No guns.
They don't. They're just blowing shit up. They're complete violence now. Maybe that's because once their home planet died, they didn't have anything to go back to, so they had to learn how to adapt to that. But then it confused me because I'm like, okay, the Saiyans is a warrior race that can turn into great apes, but they don't use brute force in their combat.
Right.
Like blasters and pistols and all this shit, and they have these weird ass like telescope scouters that. Frieza said, "You know what? Fuck that shit. We got this new technology. We got Apple Watches. We got all this shit." So it was just weird because I was really hoping, because whenever this got first announced, the whole thing about it was going to be like a History of the Saiyans movie. Mm-hmm. That was the initial announcement before we knew what it was about.
Yeah, and
I was like, okay, good. I get to see why these guys are the way they are. But it was essentially just kind of this a little more of the same thing, but from
retold
different perspectives. It kind of Bardock is one of my like favorite characters out of in the whole show, and I really like his movie that it's really good if you haven't seen it. But one of my favorite things about him is that he wasn't pussy. he was like, man, I don't give a fuck Frieza. And he was the only guy that stood up and went up there in outer space and was like talking all that shit. He was like, man, Frieza, I don't care. And he's like doing all his moves and blasted back, and he got killed obviously at the end of the day. But it blew my mind that no other Saiyan was like, man, you know what? Bardock's right. Like not one single person, but we don't know how that happened in this telling of it, because from what it looked like, he was still kind of closer to the surface whenever he did his move.
Right.
He didn't like it. Didn't.
He was
seem like
definitely
he was in
on the
space.
surface.
Yeah,
he wasn't.
It didn't seem like he was up there. So it just seemed like, it seemed more like an ode to fans showing that scene, like a little like, yeah, hey, we didn't forget he did this.
Also, they're like, there's by the way, Goku's parents are not alive. So just so y'all know,
there's no chance of that.
They made sure we knew that.
And we got a few more tidbits about it. I think Frieza learns now about the legend of the Super Saiyan and Super Saiyan God, which is kind of it was kind of like injected into Super about the Super Saiyan God prophecy and how that's always existed. Mm-hmm. So they kind of updated things on that. We get a look at Broly. We haven't talked much about Broly at this point, but it's kind of the same story with Broly, of this kid with amazing power.
Cute kid, man.
And King Vegeta is just like, we cannot have him here because he might, with that much power, he's going to go out of control. So we're banishing him to another planet.
We will not have it.
They sent him to planet Vampa. Paragus, finds out, and then he steals a ship and flies over to planet Vampa.
Man, Paragus just went straight out the window. Anybody else enjoy that little? He just went right through the window.
Man,
he stopped him. He was gone, jumping out the jet. He's gone.
They're probably like, good riddance, because that man
I
was
think that's
pest
exactly
anyway.
Oh yeah,
exactly.
I doubt that they cared. It was just funny because he was like on site, like fuck that.
Yeah, that's why I thought it was funny too. The way he just he dipped so fast, broke the window. If King Vegeta, I would have been like, what you doing?
Oh my god! So they end up doing that. They land on planet Vampa. They eventually discover this giant planet. They have no, aliens and giant spiders and shit. But Broly he's been there for a couple days, but he's still managed to hold his own just because of his insane power level. And, Paragus kills, homeboy who came with him. Sorry.
That was savage, man. There was so much shit in this movie that I did not expect.
You got a great cameo, my friend.
They had to save the food, man. Hey, wait, let me ask y'all a question. What did you guys come with that? Did you guys get that from, we don't want you eating up what food we have, or we're gonna eat you?
No. Oh, all right. No, I thought it was the first one.
I think it's resources. I think it's resources.
Yeah.
I'm hoping it's resources.
Just think about it, man. Just think about it.
I feel you. I hear you. Cannibalism.
They're on a planet with only a certain amount of food, and all of a sudden, Broly grows up. He's this big ass man. Come on, man. I think they ate that. I think they ate dude, man.
That's genetics, baby. That's just genetics, man. Great scene. I thought people got a kick out of this scene when they showed, little Vegeta and little Raditz, just sitting there talking with their high pitched helium voices. Is just like,
it's one of my favorite parts.
Don't you have a brother too? Yeah.
That was cute. I forget.
Are you guys into them making Vegeta's brother canon and mentioning that he's alive? Basically,
I feel like they're gonna introduce him into Super.
They definitely will. Yeah, I think they wouldn't. I don't think they would talk about it and actually, I mean, clearly it tells the audience that he's alive in some fashion.
Anything is possible.
To me, some things they want to. There's a lot of loose ends in Z and GT that they kind of want to wrap up, and this may be just one of those quick things, like the mention of Oob, various times in Super, and like a lot of things they just want to wrap up. They want to wrap around and just get this under control. It may be that we maybe see Vegeta's brother. I mean, I'm happy if we do.
Hey man, what if
they might recast him?
What if Vegeta's brother is King of Sadala? Let's see, man. We'll just find out, man.
We'll see. We get a great transition. I mean, as Goku's flying through space, they land on Earth, and we see the little time thing of the timestamp. It is like the little, Goku versus Vegeta.
Yeah, that was fun.
Goku versus,
I walked out. Not gonna lie.
That was
because we haven't seen them like at the ending of Super. They were fighting, right?
Yeah.
And we haven't seen them like actually scrap in a long time. Like actually go at it on some like I want to beat you type shit.
Yeah.
So seeing them fight in that like movie quality animation, I was like, and in their OG outfits, I was
yeah, definitely.
Because I love that Vegeta, like that blue outfit. Like that's it. It gives me and the music that was playing whenever. Okay, continue. Sorry.
No, please,
No,
please
you're
mark
right.
out accordingly.
You're right, bro. Yeah.
I was marking out in the theater.
Listen, Goku and Vegeta. First of all, when Goku and Vegeta came on the screen, first showing, everyone marked out. Everyone was just like, "Yo, finally! Like we here." After sitting through, did y'all get previews of just Mad Kid movies? Like,
yes,
mine was, yeah.
All right.
Yes, I did.
Yeah, they knew what time it was.
It was lots of anime.
But yeah, it's finally Vegeta, and we get the, it's the post Tournament of Power, which I like. I mean, this is the first like canon movie, really. It's really, or at least the most prominent canon movie, and they're talking about the Tournament of Power. Goku's Whis asks him, "Why do you seek to be stronger?" And he's like, "Man, after that Tournament of Power, seeing all those people from the universes, like I got to." And meanwhile, Vegeta's like, because this asshole let Frieza live, I have to become stronger now to protect the world from being blown up again.
Right.
Oh my God. All right. So first of all, in this sort of scene, it's very luxurious. We see Bulma. She's over here on her own island or vacation island. We get Goku, Vegeta, Bulma, Whis, Beerus, and Bulla. And then probably like outside of Trunks and Goten, those are really the only Z fighters you see. Do you have any qualms about that? Or just like, I wish we could have saw, I mean, we see Piccolo down the line as well, but do you wish you could have saw any other person? Or do you feel like the contributions for this movie were fine with what we got thus far?
I didn't mind the cast. I was okay. I mean, I was okay with it.
I'm at this point. I'm like, as far as the other, Z fighters go, I'm not grasping at straws anymore. There's no point of Gohan being in this,
right? Plus, I knew this was an introduction to the new Super arc. So I was kind of like, oh, this is fine. Like I will figure out what everybody else is up to soon.
We know what's going on. It's just a lot of like. I think one of the largest points of the Tournament of Power was to give everyone their last bit of shine before we move on to something major, because what is Krillin or Gohan, honestly, or, any of them boys going to do against Broly or whoever comes next in the manga, nothing. There's no point. So I think we're going to see them some more. They're going to mention them. They're going to be, and they're still part of the show.
Yeah.
But they're kind of, what I'm getting from this is they're locking down on who matters right now.
And to me, they also did that through that transition between Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z, where you saw those characters that were followed throughout the entire story. You saw the Tien, the Yamcha, the Krillin, the Chaozu, and they started to get like, not phased out, but they had lesser roles once different.
It took a back seat.
Yeah, once different stories just started to come to bloom, and then even in Super, it was much more of a bigger backseat. I mean, we went pretty much, I don't know, at least two arcs in Super does not feature Gohan. And we're getting sort of away from that, and I get it, because I guess Vegeta and Goku, the most prominent, not only they're the money makers, but they're the most prominent characters in the movie. They're the most developed characters in the movie, in a sense. But yeah, I mean, I'll agree. I really had no problems with really no one else being featured in the movie. But I thought this entire part, it was a great, from the destruction of Planet Sadala to now, it's a great, like, light change of pace. It's very light. It's very comedic. We learned that Trunks and Goten alert Bulma that your Dragon Ball Raider has been stolen from the lab, and also the Dragon Balls. And Vegeta's just like, they find out that, it's it's the people from the Frieza Force, and Vegeta's just like, this fucking
of course. Yeah, of course. He's like,
hilarious.
Get most security.
It was like, listen, I know where the last Dragon Ball is. It's on the what is it? The frozen planet, the frozen continent, the ice continent.
Yeah.
It's on the ice continent. So let's all go and get it. And Beerus is just like, nah, I'm good. I'm hungry. So they leave him with Bulla, which is funny.
Bulla gets watched. Yeah, man, what a story she's gonna get to tell one day.
You know, I feel like I've been rewatching Super, and it just didn't. You know, in this this might be my second or third rewatch. I didn't realize how funny like Beerus and Whis actually are.
Oh yeah, they're hilarious.
They're probably like in just sort of this natural comedy aspect. I love Beerus's like forever mortal hatred for Boo, just because he keeps ruining whatever he needs to do.
Right.
I love the food stuff. I love everything. So we get that. You know, Beerus's time is limited in the movie, but in a way,
it needs to be.
Yeah, in a way, so is Whis. In a bit, even though he goes to the planet. So they're searching. The Frieza. They find, we get the motivations behind the wish, and Bulma says, I want to become 5 years younger.
Okay, listen. Before you go any further, like that scene and the scene right after that, literally gold.
Amazing.
Oh, yeah.
Gold.
It's so like that was one of the most surprising things for me was how much good comedy there was in this, and how lighthearted it was in the first half.
That's kind of Toriyama's thing too, right? Because as much as the great fight scenes we get, and trust me, we get fantastic fight scenes in this movie. He's always just been a part of, like, we got to remember this is an adventure, and this is also like, this is fun light, and we have these fun light moments. I think that's kind of why Goku still remains, even despite it all, even despite his friends dying and him making decisions that put the Earth in trouble, he's still this lighthearted character. And to find out that Bulma was just like, I want to look 5 years younger, because like, and he was like, what about 10? And he was like, nah, I don't want people to think like, like I'm getting too young. And they're like, yo, what are you doing to yourself?
It's a little bit at a time.
I want to, look like I'm still getting older. That's kind of how I feel. And then we go over to the Frieza side. Frieza.
At first, I thought the Frieza side was a joke, and I thought they were gonna wrap they were gonna kind of like concluded into the real wish, and I was like, "Oh, Frieza's dead ass."
That shit was funny, man.
That was funny.
He kept expanding on it, and he was like,
"Yeah, like the expansion on it was the best part."
Yeah, like he was like, "Why don't you use your second form and you can look taller that way?" He was like, "No, I want to look at my final form and my golden form. Like, I need to look 5 centimeters taller." So it still looks like I'm growing, like I'm trying to, because
it was just it was done really well.
It was done really well. It plays on, the little, like the kind of Napoleon complex that Frieza has. It plays on just the sort of evolution of Frieza from this, like in his depiction in the film to us, not so much of actually in the film, but it's just so like the evolution of Frieza from just like, we learn of him as this cold-hearted, tyrant. Right, and now he's literally like, he has comedic moments, and a lot of people are like, Frieza's growing on a lot of people.
He is a main character for real.
He is the villain, and even he's the most despicable, but he's probably the greatest foil for Goku in every possible way.
It's crazy. Like, we actually watched a serious Dragon Ball movie. The show, the series is based off Dragon Balls and making wishes, and we have 2 main wishes about getting younger and getting taller. That's crazy. It's crazy.
But the way that they introduced it, and they made you laugh about it, because it's a fucking joke.
Yeah,
that these 7 like mystical items that are gathered to do these like wild, ridiculous wishes. The 2 main wishes is height.
You can wish for anything almost.
Height and looks.
Height and looks.
And then when Goku said Bulma looked old and shit like that.
Yeah.
It was just the jokes they wrote themselves.
Listen, shout out to the theater, shout out to the Court Street Theater when they found out Frieza's wish. The person in the back was like, "You dead ass!" Like,
oh, of course.
Oh my god, I love that theater.
Yeah, the theater was cracking up, man.
Oh my god! So after that, we're introduced to 2 new characters, Chile and Lemo. Any general thoughts on those characters? I mean, I like them.
Listen, bro. Oddly enough, you know when you have those characters that are introduced and you see artwork of them, you're like, okay, cool, whatever. What's up with Brawley?
Yeah,
it's like that was my first initial reaction when seeing the artwork, but I really enjoyed them. Like, just flat out, I thought they were great, like, additions, and obviously, if you see in the movie, I hope that they continue to be a part of the series, of course.
I agree. I think they did a great job of introducing them the way they did. I do think it was they were trying to make, their name's Chile, right?
Yeah.
They were trying to make her like a little baddie, bro. Like,
Look,
they definitely were.
I'm glad I wasn't the one to say it.
Y'all not the only ones. Y'all not the only ones. She was a little thotty.
Whenever she was like stretching her arm around and shit,
Yeah,
and, whenever they were looking out the window and like they drew,
she's like bent over, right?
Yeah, they drew
was
like an
like,
ass on her. I'm like, what is this fucking character?
Listen, so funniest part. This is how you know I was in the theater with high school kids. At some point, she's like, "Oh, so you know what? I'll tell the story as we get there. We're almost there." So they find Planet Vampa, and Paragus is like, "Yo, help! Come on! Like, I'm dying out here." And shout out to Carlos next to me, who was like, "I bet he smells terrible."
Come on, man.
Just because, they find him on Planet Vampa, and they're like, "Yo, Saiyans, they still exist," and they're just like, "Yo, save us! Me and my son Broly's out here." And
that introduction,
yeah,
oh
bro.
my god,
we're the giant,
So good,
that was
So
where
good.
the beginning of my like nonstop like screaming for the
yeah,
last
man.
part
The
of
giant
movie.
beetle shows up. Broly, he just screams, "Broly!"
That dude comes off the screen and kicks him in the face. That shit
Boom.
was so lit. Oh my god, I marked out. I was waiting for it.
It's there. They invite him back to the ship. We get we see Broly in a sense, and this is the funny part I was talking about. It's just, this is how you know it's immature. They're like eating chocolate, and she says like, "Yo, chill, I gotta take the wrapper off first." And everyone was just like, "Hey, yo," like, "Oh my." And I'm just like,
That's what she said.
y'all 17. I can tell the age in
Jesus
here.
Jesus
So that is my thoughty Chile story.
Jeez.
But yeah, I mean, they're introduced to Frieza. Frieza still rolling with the lie of the planet's been blown up by a meteor.
This man, Frieza,
Man.
he don't. Hey, man, he holds his lies, man.
Listen,
He holds his lies.
He's a demon. He is a villainous to a T. He's the mischievous little bastard. Like,
right.
Yeah.
he's like, I think Frieza is like Loki. If Loki could like box with the gods,
That's real.
like
That's real.
if Loki had the actual like power to go fight somebody,
Yeah,
rather
Loki
than-
just be talking shit.
exactly.
But Frieza talks shit and he's legit.
Exactly. I that's what I compare it to, because it's like Frieza is mischievous, he's funny, he's witty,
Right.
he's annoying, but he's evil,
And you can tell how mischievous he is. Just, he's not even mad there are more Saiyans out there. He's amused. He's just like, "Oh, turn up. Like, we're about to..."
Yeah. It's still monkeys to him. Like,
This
still,
is
yeah.
this is about to be fun. They're super powerful. Switch their fits and let's get ready. So they're out of their rags and stuff like that. And I think the next few scenes are more so about just establishing Broly's character.
Right.
They're eating lunch, and some guys tries to hit on Chile. He smacks Lemo, and then Broly goes off and he tries to punch him in the chest, and everyone in the theater is just like, "Oh shit."
Yeah, you thought he was about to die.
Here you go. And Broly manhandles him, but then you get Paragus sort of reeling in Broly with that shot collar.
He's like, "Hey, stop playing around, man."
Yeah, it's it's fun. I thought it was for this sort of part, and we also get the extra part of where she steals a controller, she breaks it,
Mhm.
and then they have their own discussion, and Broly's talking about his friend on Planet Vampa.
Hey, I'm glad I'm getting into that point, man. This was like an underrated moment for me. It's like we all talked about when we were trying to when the teaser first came out, right? And we were talking about around his waist and what it was, and we were trying to figure out what it was kind of obvious once things actually came out. But I love the backstory of like the cape.
Right. Yeah, it was Ba's ear, which is a weird thing to hold on to, actually. But nonetheless, I mean, it is what it is. It's Ba's ear, and he's telling the story of how his best friend Ba used to train with him, and then his father did not approve of it, and Ba no longer trusted him again after, Paragus sort of, zapped his ear off. And that kind of, it shows a little bit of the disconnect between Paragus and Broly, but also, kind of, he becomes more gentler, and you kind of see him around, Chile and Lemo, and he becomes gentler, and you kind of realize like he's not this brute warrior despite how his power was. And that's in comparison to the regular Broly movie, I mean, it was kind of that way, but I don't think we got as much development as we're getting now in this sort of way. I thought, it's probably less development, but this development for me is a lot more meaningful than the original movie.
Yeah, and I think we talked about this whenever I was on here last time, and I was discussing how I felt like Broly was going to be a bit of more of a tortured character in this, and be more of a soft, quiet, guy, but it's his pops that's kind of running the whole show.
Mm-hmm.
And in this movie, it was 100% that, and they really expanded on it with that specific scene with how he's, he has from the shot collar, then transitioning into the story about his best friend, then him saying, "Don't talk bad about my dad," because at the end of the day, he has this weird love and connection to him because he doesn't know any better. And it goes into detail, that specific scene, it goes into detail about how tortured of a character he is, because he's known two people his whole life, his dad and Ba. His best friend was an alien monster on a planet that nobody was ever supposed to go to, and even he lost that, so all he had at the end of the day was his pops. And even though his pops caused that disconnect with him and his best friend, his pops was the guy above everything in his life. That's all he ever knew.
Yeah.
So and whenever you don't grow up around anybody else, and that's all you're gonna learn to love that, and then you're gonna care for that. Even once he was kind of free, I guess, from that, and he was hiding away in the room, and his dad was talking to Frieza. He still didn't want anybody talking shit about him, even after he got shocked, and told him was restrained basically by force. He still didn't want anybody talking bad about his dad.
Yeah, he was just like, listen, that's just my dad. It is what it is. Frieza brings in Broly, and there's like, listen, I got these two Saiyans. Have you heard of King Vegeta? I know you have. He exiled you. Well, his son, Vegeta the Fourth, Major Pop. Vegeta the Fourth, that means there are three more Vegetas that existed in some period of time.
Yeah. Very, very nice little touch.
Yeah. Is out and alive. Shout out to Frieza for knowing that, by the way. That's a tidbit that
Frieza, look, man, Frieza
how do you know that?
I'm saying he keeps up, man. He knows the history, man.
Oh my god. But
Frieza, the way I saw it was like, hey, just so you know, his son's alive, bro. Just so you know.
They said, listen, you're going on Earth. We're going to have to fight these two Saiyans that also exist on Earth. They're very strong. They've caused me trouble for so long. But I got the 7th Dragon Ball. I'm trying to get this wish. Let's make a move. Meanwhile, back on Earth, Bulma, Whis, Vegeta, Goku, they end up finding the two goons who are out here finding the 7th Dragon Ball. Goku's just way to... First of all, Vegeta shooting them out of the sky. Incredible.
With ease.
With ease. They're trying to escape. He's just like, nope, see ya. He lifts up the pod. Goku's out there snorting into the damn glass. And just like, give us the Dragon Ball. What are you guys doing here? And then they sense, okay, Frieza's here. And he's not alone. Frieza comes in, to me. I love it. The most extra entrance ever, where he drops that little ball just to separate the clouds, just so he can show up in a clear sky. I love it. and we're getting ready into
Real
essentially
villain shit.
Yeah, I mean, we're getting into fight night right now, and this is what we've been waiting for. And this
It
is
starts to just go on heavy at this point. Like the movie just flips a switch, bro.
Listen, they arrive on the planet. Frieza is now in possession of all 7 Dragon Balls. Vegeta and Goku, why are you here, Frieza? Then and he, they have a little banter back and forth. I love it. Just because most of Goku and Frieza's interactions, I love. I think they've built it up and developed this in this way that it's kind of like it's obviously a mutual respect, even though they know both of them will stop the other from accomplishing what they're trying to accomplish.
Exactly.
And more times than not, Goku's the one who stops Frieza. But I love their relationship. Paragus recognizes Vegeta, and it's just like, yo, you're King Vegeta's son. And let's see. I think Goku talks a little bit. He tries to like, hey, we're Saiyans here. Like, come on. But it's not enough. And they're like, listen, it's time to go fight. And we get the first true fight of this movie. Yeah. It is Vegeta versus Broly. Yeah. We got to break this down.
Hey, man.
From the first punch and Vegeta smirking as he's backing up. We saw it in the trailer. Yeah. But him smirking as he's going back. And the crowd is going up for it. They're like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. What are your thoughts just on general? Favorite moments, favorite scenes, just this entire Vegeta Broly encounter?
I don't want to sound weird saying this, but like, bro, this is maybe one of my favorite Vegeta fights. Like it went up my list of favorite moments with Vegeta because it was so smooth. Like, and when Vegeta's fighting and he knows he's not in trouble, it's like the best to me. Or he just like, he's so confident in the situation. Mm-hmm. The transformations, first of all, were like, just so fluent, bro. I mean, I've say it again. We already know how I feel about Red. When we see Vegeta go Super Saiyan God, bro.
It's fire.
It's no words to really explain it. It's like
it's just perfect.
And I agree with you on the point of like when Vegeta's confident that he's gonna win the fight, he fights differently. And like after the punch and they're sliding back, the animation for how they construct that fight from going like iceberg to iceberg and Vegeta's beating the brakes off of Broly and completely like, he's in control of the fight at first, and then he starts getting pushed back a little bit. He's not doing enough damage. Then that first Super Saiyan transformation was fire. The way he like looked down on the camera and like the aura was just like pumping up through him. This shit was amazing. And then he goes back to beating him again. He's beating him up. It's Vegeta's in control again. Then it's not enough. Broly starts to learn as he fights, so he's adapting.
Right.
Then he goes red.
Whew.
Once he went red,
whew.
I could not contain myself in the theater. I was flipping the fuck out just at the way that they constructed that. And then again, he was beating the shit out of Broly. He sent Broly back up. Like once he sent him back underwater, and Goku was like, Vegeta, no! And he like, fuck that. And he sent him all the way back just to the pit. And I was like, yo, that's
fooling. He was having fun. He was having fun, bro.
That's the goal right there. Paragus was just losing all kinds of hope. It was,
and
Frieza was like, so is this it? Paragus like, yeah, this is it.
But that's one of and before we get into the sort of conclusion of that fight, that's one of the main stark differences between this movie and the previous movie, right? Because the initial movie, I don't even think the Saiyans even had an ounce of a chance. No one did.
No.
They at this point, and I'll say this: it's a notable Vegeta fight, and I'll say this because of in reference of the Goku fight. This is the first fight where Vegeta doesn't get completely embarrassedly washed.
Yeah, that's real.
That was the best thing.
He wasn't, and Goku receives a brunt of the actual, The ass kicking.
Of course, Goku got the worst of it. Yes.
Well, normally it's Vegeta, right? Normally
You're
it's
right.
Vegeta who's
You're
just the
absolutely right. That's a
one.
nice, I didn't think about it like that till you just said that. But
Even
you're right.
in the original movie, it's Vegeta who gets cratered into the damn in his face, just gets cratered into a boulder or a mountain or something. Like he's the one who he's the one who really gets the ass kicking. But it's like Vegeta who's the technically good fighter, and Broly who isn't as adept because, and it's a nice story they told, who isn't as adept because he's really only faced his father. Power level of just only 4,200, hasn't really learned all the things, hasn't been through the space, hasn't been through the sagas, hasn't fought the villains that they fought, and he's really just holding his own at that point. And to me, just that transformation to Super Saiyan God, I mean, we've talked about it just now already, but the way the flames and just sort of the camera just from the feet all the way up, the animation itself, the stark difference in appearance and just everything like that. It was just like, whew,
it's perfect.
Everyone in my theater, that was the most, if there was any pops in the theater for like the biggest reaction, it was that. It was everyone seeing, for lack of a better term, how everyone in probably Court Street realizes the realest nigga on earth, Vegeta, really becoming the realest in that moment. It was him at his highest peak.
Pictures were worth it. All the fan pictures of him going red before we knew he could were perfect. This moment just like finalized everything that I had been standing for, Super Saiyan God Vegeta for quite some time.
Right.
And this was beautiful to see, man.
At some point, just due to the nature of everything going on, Broly sort of unlocks his, untapped power, and that's the power of. They explain it. They explain it to me. I don't know if they explained it in the regular movie how that's kind of works, but they certainly explained it in this movie. How it was just the power of the Great Ape. Just embodied in
really
this
cool
form. Yeah. I was like, oh, that makes sense. Okay.
I guess they wanted to kind of tell us why, like what this was like. Why is he the only Saiyan that? Because
why is he so ridiculously strong?
Right. Basically, it's like they had to pace the movie properly to kind of like move him forward with his power. So I'm glad that they explained it in this way.
When he came back, and he was like just radiating green, and like he swole the fuck up, like, and he came out of the water, and just like this unlimited stamina he had. Again, I just marking the fuck out, especially when Paragus like explained like it's the power of a great ape, but he's lost all sense of himself. He doesn't know what he's doing. He was beating the shit out of Vegeta, and Vegeta wasn't getting washed. It's just he couldn't keep up. Right, because this is a different type of power that he tapped into that they couldn't. Right, and just this sheer speed and brute strength that came with it, he couldn't keep up. And Vegeta was starting to get like pushed back on his toes before he could even go to Super Saiyan Blue. But just the animation, man. Hey, the animation.
It sold it all. Go ahead.
Can I kind of go? I just want to maybe fast forward a little bit, like, so the explaining of like this Broly, whatever that was, the power of the Great Ape, basically just in regular form. It's like when thinking about the new, Super arc that's coming up and what's next, and like we already seen Ultra Instinct, like what's next for the Super Saiyan brand. Do you think that like this form is something that they'll try to look into other than just for Broly? Because I was thinking about like what's next for the evolution of taking it to the next level or transforming or whatever's next. I mean, we saw it obviously in the Power Tournament with excuse me, with I don't know why her name is out of my head right now.
Sorry,
y'all know what I'm talking about.
Kale.
What, Kale? Yeah.
Oh yeah, Kale. Yeah.
But so it's like, could this be? My question to you guys is, would you guys mind if this was a new form that Vegeta and Goku would try to get to at some point in stage in the new in Super as the new transformation per se?
I'd say no, And only reason why I say that is because I feel like that would only come up if they knew what it was.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if they find out what it is,
Right.
then they can potentially find a way to tap into that. But Broly, he doesn't know what it is, you know.
Right,
but
right.
he's
It's just something that he deals with.
Yeah, and
Right.
Goku and Vegeta aren't tortured characters like him, so it's really hard for them to, you know, it'd be something detrimental would have to happen, and Goku already, you know, had to fight the guy that killed him, his wife, and his child, and he didn't break into it then.
And he didn't bring it to right.
Yeah,
Definitely.
so
No, it makes sense. It definitely makes sense.
And also, the thing about Broly is that his tail kept growing back after trying to cut it off. It
Right.
kept, you know, whenever he was a child, just like Goku, he transformed into a great ape, and was tearing shit apart on Vampa. So I think this interests me for two reasons. This interests me because this is what Broly, that little mode he was in, was particularly similar to what happened to Goku and GT to get to Super Saiyan 4.
Mhm.
Except the difference is Goku actually went ape
Right.
to get to Super Saiyan 4.
Yeah.
And this is like, does he doesn't have his tail in the movie, right? Broly's tail is gone, right?
I don't think he has it. No, from
I don't
think he has his tail. No.
I don't think he has his tail anymore. From what I get from this, it's like this is what happens when you don't have your tail. So you just tap into the same power, because it's not the moon that's causing it. You know, it's just you breaking into yourself, and you're breaking into this untapped potential.
But I also don't think it's even something though that normal Saiyans can do, because
Right.
there's still like the lore of like the legendary Super Saiyan. And the legendary Super Saiyan, I mean, it looks like Broly. To me, I don't know. This explanation kind of like, it puts it in a little bit of perspective, and it also gives it a little bit more context of why the legendary Super Saiyan is the legendary Super Saiyan, as opposed to just like, he's a legendary Super Saiyan. That's why he's so strong. It's more like he's this strong, and that makes him the legendary Super Saiyan.
Right.
So it to me,
I get all that, but then we're gonna have to figure out what's up with Kale then, in that sense.
And though I do agree with that, the thing is, they never really say that he is that. In this movie,
they never really actually touch on it.
And also, I don't want to skip too far into the fights, but we'll get to that later. But yeah, they never really necessarily say that he is the legendary Super Saiyan. But it makes sense if that were the case, because he's tapping into powers and things in Saiyan bodies that other Saiyans haven't. You know? So, and on top of all that, Broly's had no real training besides with his pops. So you're just imagining how strong he would be if he had the same kind of experience
That's real.
The other Saiyans did, including like Zenkai boots and stuff like that.
I'll say this. I'll say, well, in terms of just sort of moving forward with the fights and things like that, Broly ascends to this next level, and you know how Goku already feels about this. He's like, "Oh, people getting stronger out here."
Yeah, let me fight
without me.
Rock hard. This man is just like, oh, he doesn't even say like, Vegeta, your time is up. He's like, oh, it's time to cut in. He already knows what time it is, and the jacket flies off, and they're fighting. And to me, you know, despite the actual results of the actual fight, Goku and Broly's entire action, where you kind of get like that first person mode as Broly, as they're like flying through the air and through the iceberg, and he's like punching him and like all these other type of stuff, and Goku's not really putting up any offense or anything like that. I thought that was incredible. To me, the choreographing between all of these fights has just been phenomenal in general. How they've obviously planned all of this, and they saved a good portion of this from the Tournament of Power. And
that energy, I was gonna say that power tournament and energy was still there.
Yeah. Goku versus Broly. Any sort of, you know, anything that sticks out in your minds, anything that you kind of liked about it, just general thoughts.
I mean, new Goku techniques are always welcomed in my world.
That was fun.
That was
Yeah,
started doing
it was very
jutsus.
cool.
Shit was lit. I didn't expect that
Yeah,
at all.
yeah,
Like once he,
very cool.
the way I love the way he transformed into God, man. Where like he went from in his regular little because Super Saiyan, and then after that he like the way he transforms, like his arms are like down, like
Yeah, it kind of like he exhaled in a sense.
Yeah, like he was. Yeah, exactly. Like because he going into that form is a bit more like natural for him. But it's like he calmed down, and because I feel like Super Saiyan, and then like when you tap into God Ki, it's more of like a control thing over just changing your state of power.
Yeah.
Whenever he exhaled, and his like arms are down, then he like hopped back up, and he was like all agile and stuff, and then whenever he froze Broly. And was talking to him.
Dude, that was so cool.
Whenever he just completely shut his shit down, and then he was talking to him like, "I don't think you're evil.
Yeah,
I think you're misled."
Some foreshadowing, man.
First of all, everyone in the theater was like, "What the fuck is this?"
Bro, I was too.
Goku, like, because where did he learn this, man?
She completely shut him down. He couldn't move anymore, but Goku was able to. Goku was still walking around. Like Goku was good, so it was definitely a new, interesting technique, and just the way they animated it was like just perfect. Like,
but what's the cool part? I mean, you get Broly learning how to fight during the entire this. When Broly breaks free of this, he also learns that technique, and he uses it on Goku.
That was fucking
which
ridiculous.
is amazing.
That blew my mind. Whenever like he broke through it, then the aura changed colors, and the field around him and Goku went from like being all red to being green. And he shot it back at Goku, and Goku was like, "What the fuck is happening?"
Yeah,
and Broly's like breaking free of these like strings, and then he just fucking starts pummeling Goku and just tearing him apart. I do think that was a very nice little touch whenever he like shot it back at him. However the fuck he did that.
Yeah, like, I mean, yeah. I mean,
the animation from then onwards, just like. I love whenever they incorporate the whole like they're moving so fast you can't see them type thing. There's lots of moments where we can't see what's happening because they're going so fast and going back and forth. But then the moments you do see them, Goku and Broly goes, there's 100% Hulk mode on Goku, and it's just like throwing him back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, and then running his head through the damn. And shout out to the voice actors, man, because they snapped.
They did.
I don't know what their throats are like right now, but I know they got to be dying because the amount of screaming that happens in that movie.
Oh, when Goku is getting absolutely Hulk smashed, into the ice, and you just hear him screaming out in pain.
I could feel it, like
you could feel it. Absolutely.
But the way they animated it was just perfect. It like they deserve all the awards, all the roses for all those fights. But I like the choreography of the iceberg fights a lot. Yeah. Because of just the places they went to and the different and then when they went like to Earth's core for a second.
Oh yeah.
Like, under the ice. And they were going back and forth and they were like in lava for a second. It was kind of a callback to the Beerus and Goku fight in Battle of Gods.
It was crazy just how the atmosphere changed because at some point Goku goes Super Saiyan Blue. He's like, all right, fuck this. I ain't got no time for this.
Fantastic transformation, by the
way. I mean, crowd popped. They saw a little bit of gray, a little bit of instinct. Everyone was kind of losing their minds. Respectively, it was like, oh shit, and then they're like, oh, it's just blue. But they changed entire scenery. It's kind of like, to have an ice continent change, and then it's kind of now the absolute, opposite of it, where it becomes this lava, fiery wasteland. Right. Is just incredible in how they sort of change the atmosphere for all of that. Goku gets the best of Broly in this situation, and then, Frieza's just like, is that it? All right, I guess we gotta go.
I hope for your sake this turns out a bit differently.
But Broly turns up, and I mean, he turns up when Frieza's just like, he might need a little bit more motivation, and you.
All right,
the flashback of him killing Krillin.
Mills, come on, guys, all of us right now, like. Were you not like just was this a top? This is top three. This is top three in a movie.
This is
Yeah, I mean, because the thing was about it is like that's why I was calling back to earlier in the film that I was so thrown off about that one savage moment. Then this happens, and I'm like,
The most savage moment.
Frieza just killed him casually.
Yeah,
Like,
casually.
He was a main character in this movie. He was one of the driving characters, and Frieza just boop, he's gone.
He's like,
And he's like,
It was the acting afterwards that got me
bro,
out
he
of
was
my
like,
chair. Bro.
oh, Broly, energy blast, this killed your father. I was like, you bastard!
You a savage.
just evil
you
and
bastard.
sinister, bro. So sinister, bro.
Oh my God! Isn't it trademark Frieza though? It's just
absolutely.
It is what it is.
But it was done. It was done so well that
dude,
it was amazing.
Dude, the fucking transformation.
Yeah.
The theme, the atmosphere, the switch up, the pain,
the colors,
the colors, the screaming, like
everything about it.
Once he just started going insane, and then you hear the fucking the orchestra come in, and like that theme is that soundtrack is so perfect for this specific transformation. And I think everybody and their mama probably thought that was his like big transformation that was going to be the one for the trailers. Whenever you see him like fucking elevating out of the ground and like his eyes are glowing red and this big ass like beam of green is just going up.
Just his mere transformation is destroying everything.
And I was like, yo, they about to get fucked up.
Oh,
and then once he broke through, that was some of the illest shit ever. Like, and it was because based off that trailer, I was already comparing it to like his original one, right? Because the one from the original movie is one of my favorites in all of Dragon Ball. And I don't think either one is better than either one because of how different they are.
Yeah.
You know, the only thing they have in common is that there is the pain and the torture. But, you know
where it comes from.
Yeah, exactly. But I can't even compare them because of how different they are, you know? But once he breaks through, man, and the fighting starts again, they cannot keep up with him. He is on a whole different level.
Oh my God, bro! It's like Vegeta joins him, and it just becomes his handicap match because it's like, why are you playing around? And he's just like, yo, I'm actually trying out here.
I'm not. Yeah, I was like, I'm not playing around, bro.
We get a little bit. The fight turns less animation and more CGI. Dragon Fighters.
I was okay with. I was okay with at the time.
I don't know how I fully feel about it. It's not bad. I get it.
It was definitely.
There's so much stuff going around. I mean, they decided, and I think this was more so of like, yo, this is like the penultimate fight. This is like of all the, you know, Dragon Ball is really just people shooting beams at each other. This is the most like, these are the biggest beams, and this is the most colors, and this is the most powering up. And to me, they just had to take it to another level for the movie, especially considering we have the budget for it. So they whipped out, you know, we got some graphics. We got, you know, the I don't know if it's the Gallic Gun or the final. It looks like the Gallic Gun Kamehameha back to back type of deal.
Yeah, I don't know what the formal name, what it's actually going to be called, but
it's probably the
Gallic Kamehameha wave.
Yeah, it's a combination of both, but they're fighting through air and they're going through, you know, they're trying to escape.
Animated.
It was crazy, and they managed to get this, you know, they managed to see a free spot, and it's funny because they're like, "Oh, yours, Frieza," and Broly can't even like in a second. He can't even process what's going on. He sees another body
beating Frieza's ass.
Like, everyone went up for it.
Yeah, I was like, because the way that it transitioned, it was like he was fighting Goku Vegeta, then all of a sudden Frieza's getting his ass whooped, like punch.
That shit was hilarious.
It was.
Good luck,
Frieza's
Frieza.
like, God damn, like what's going on?
He was beating the shit.
He was beating his ass,
beating the shit out of Frieza, dog. The way they kept cutting back to it was fucking hilarious.
Oh my God! So they do the instant transmission Goku, and they finally land where Piccolo is, and I forgot to say that Piccolo is, you know, He had a brief pep talk. He was coach. He was coach this movie. Coach Piccolo.
He was, of course.
He knows his
Piccolo,
place,
man.
Yeah,
he's a mentor.
He's
guidance
kind of
counselor.
that's kind of his role now. And you know what? If they're fully going into that role, if they're fully like, yo, this is the role, I'm for it.
No, it makes sense to me because even Piccolo says there was no point for me to come with you guys. I mean, it's
Yeah.
not like
I'm gonna get washed, bro.
Yeah. He's like,
not-
well,
But
I'm
there's
not
always
Piccolo.
there's always been like, you know, Piccolo was this warrior from Dragon Ball, and his role has diminished as we got through Z and through Super. To me, this is kind of like the first time they've ever just like embraced that, like, yo, he's the guy who knows about fighting. He's just he's not the guy who's gonna join the fight because he knows he has no chance compared to all the Super Saiyan God shit. He's just like, you know what? I'm playing the role of coach. And they go through the process of learning fusion. Another hilarious part in the midst of all this, craziness of Vegeta just like, I'm not doing that. Like,
I thought it was in a weird. I mean, I understand it had to happen, obviously, but it was a fast situation. Like, I understood they had to kind of like get it done to get to the next process. But you guys know what I mean. It was very like. You knew what was about to happen, like,
right?
Even if we didn't watch the leak, you knew that this was the part. Like, okay,
right. If this was Super, it probably would have gone 2, maybe 3 episodes.
You already know. Yeah,
this was kind of done in like 3 minutes or so.
But, absolutely.
And I feel like, and that being said, I do feel like this made the most sense, though.
Yeah,
as far as getting it
definitely
done,
had to.
Because in the other events of fusion, a lot of them did not. Because you can always make that argument, like, why didn't they just stop him? Why didn't they just kill him? Why didn't they just beat him? Goku Black, and they had his Zamasu not know they were there. Why didn't he kill him before then?
Right.
Although Janemba, how do they have enough time to do it? Stuff like that, So I feel like if you go to a very far away place using a technique that he has no idea about while he's in a blind rage of beating the shit out of Frieza.
They use Frieza as a scapegoat.
I do agree that it felt a bit rushed and felt like, all right, come on, we gotta hurry up and get to the climax.
Yeah, it makes sense though.
Fuse, niggas, hurry up. It's just like, and I think the little jokes they did were cute with Veku and Goku. Those were cute, but it definitely I wouldn't say it undermined that goes into another issue I had with that is like. And I'll wait till we get there, but I do think that it definitely was a bit like forced. It was a bit rushed, but I'm glad that it made sense in context.
Yeah, this is all even the funny transformations. I think it's just all Toriyama and just his need for like, let me throw some comedy in this. Just even the Frieza thing.
It was pretty serious. Up until that point. I mean, for a little minutes with all the fighting scenes, so it was okay. Like I said,
think it's to add sort of you have this constant fighting thing at this point. Probably for 20 minutes of the movie they're fighting, so it's like you add this little comedy thing to sort of bring it down before you go back and just really give this sort of ultimate battle. Frieza's getting his ass whooped. Even in golden form, he's getting his ass whooped. Like, he stands no chance.
No chance.
They finally get the fusion right. Even, comedic moment. What do you name herself? Goku? Good, Gogeta.
It was kind of corny. It was kind of
it was kind of corny.
But I again, I think it's the best way. Everybody knows who Gogeta is, so it's not like. I could see if this was something completely new. We've never seen it. We didn't know what this was going to be, but I didn't mind it being as corny as it was.
I love the color palette for Gogeta.
Of course, I'm glad they. Hey, man,
they updated it.
We didn't had our discussions with Gogeta, man.
Yeah,
I loved it. I fell in love with it. I think he looked great. Personality was awesome. I have nothing bad to say about Gogeta.
It's different from the orange. It's got a nice little, a different type of blue. I love it entirely. Even because now with the blue hair, it just looks incredible.
Yeah.
I like the pace of that fight. It was very like the fight whenever he came back and like he went Super Gogeta briefly and it was lit. Like they were going back and forth and just the way Gogeta moves is so
choreographed, the acrobatics.
He's so free. He's quick on his feet. Like he's big on his legs and like going just like this way and that way. And it was just handled so beautifully. So he goes Super Gogeta, and they're going back and forth again, and then all this dope shit is happening, and then now one thing, this was a very interesting decision that they did this, especially with how the trailers were set up, is how Broly just kind of casually went into his upgraded form. You know, that I found very interesting because I'm gonna be honest, that form had like no weight to me.
Oh yeah.
You know, I was kind of hoping that happened either before or after he went, you know, Gogeta or Gogeta Blue, because like I said, it's just it happened. I'm not mad. I thought it was kind of dope how they kind of just quickly like boom, I'm buffed up. You know, I'm Super Broly. But it kind of took away the whole, like, that's why I kind of strayed away from the whole legendary Super Saiyan thing. Because it wasn't this, like, big, wild transformation where he goes to this different level. They already had that.
Right.
Whenever he went to Super Saiyan. So they can't do that twice, obviously. But that's why I was saying I kind of couldn't compare it to the other one. Because in the other one, he went to that form first after breaking through. And, like, it was just an interesting decision because the same thing happened with Gogeta. Gogeta went blue like in a snap, like it kind of just happened, and I think they did that to keep the pace of the fight going, so people wouldn't complain about stopping and letting people transform and all that like they usually do. It's just like, hey, they're already strong as fuck.
We know this.
They can tap into it. They can go, and then once they went to those different levels, one of the most unexpected and wild things in that whole movie for me was when they punched each other and they like broke the dimension.
Oh yeah. I was just about to talk about that. How did you guys feel about that?
I was like,
cool, man.
I was like, what the hell? What's never happened
it's something
before?
I'm about to say. It's something you haven't seen.
But that kind of puts their power in context, is it not? Just the two incredible forces where they're able to sort of break through dimensions just based on how much actual power they have.
Hey man, while we're talking about power and that scene exactly, basically breaking into dimension, like, is Broly stronger than Jiren? We obviously know Jiren's probably the better fighter because Broly's still learning. But
I think
is Broly stronger than Jiren from a quote unquote power level standpoint?
I personally think that Broly is stronger than Jiren, but Jiren can beat him in a fight.
Right. That's my
Jiren stomps
as well.
Jiren
stomps.
Jiren's
obviously the better fighter. You know what I mean?
Because even though I think he's stronger than Jiren, he's not like this overlooming force that'll come and just wash him.
Exactly.
Because the same thing that was happening with the Goku and Jiren was kind of happening with Broly
and Gogeta. Yeah,
it's just like there were points in time where you're like, oh, this guy is really like fucking them up. I don't know what he's gonna do. And then they'll have this one moment where like, oh shit, they're gonna win. They're gonna win. Then Jiren's like, no, fuck that. Cut it out. I'm still that dude. So it was kind of happening as far as like as the ones win, especially Broly was tearing them apart when he went Super Saiyan against them two in blue. Was still mixing them, just his speed and that's
so
the thing.
Raw power. We're giving to Broly.
Raw power. I'm giving it to Broly. He doesn't have. He's not like those techniques. He doesn't.
I just wanted to put it in the air. I wanted to finalize it for the people.
It's a good question. I do think Broly is raw power. He is stronger, but Jiren is just a better trained fighter. That's also super fucking strong.
Yeah.
I just a quick thing that happened in between before the Gogeta thing. You saw a little brief thing of Whis and Broly, and I thought that was nice.
That was cute.
It was something just like, oh, Whis is getting in there, and of course he's not getting touched because
shows us how strong Whis really.
They had to remind us.
Like that is definitely a reminder.
Second thing, I would say with that whole dimensions thing, to me, I thought that part was beautiful. Just from, just a couple weeks after seeing Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, and probably my biggest compliment about that movie was the artistic direction with that movie and kind of the different palettes. And when they're in that scene, that's the scene where they're kind of like this scene where you kind of reach in, and if you've seen the movie, you kind of know where it is. But it's this whole artistic direction and the color palettes and the way they chose to sort of show this like different dimension, and it's beautiful, and it's kind of rolling back, and you get the lasers and you kind of get all of that. I thought that was incredible just from a standpoint of just the art and how far Dragon Ball has come. Just seeing this But we eventually get to the sort of the final thing, and we see Gogeta breaking out. What's that move again? The Stardust.
I don't know the name.
I forgot. Stardust Breaker.
Stardust Breaker. I marked out when that shit came. Whenever he did that,
I marked out over the multi-beam thing too, because I thought that was
oh yeah. It was just like, God, there was like just the hundreds of them coming down at one time on Broly. That shit was beautiful.
Because to me, it's like it's a staple of Vegeta's moveset, obviously, because he's the multi-beam king. Man, anytime he's in peril, it's like, let me just start shooting 100 beams.
Let me get this done, yeah.
Right.
And it's Goku's like, I'm shooting one thing, so it's kind of a mixture of both. I really appreciated that.
No, I agree, and I especially appreciated that because it wasn't like a one thing that came down and that was it. It was a volley. Like he kept going. It was more and more and more and more and more and more and more. But I definitely marked out at the callback with the Stardust thing because I just love the way that move works and the way it looks. There's two things about Gogeta in that fight in particular that I really appreciate, and they do different things to Dragon Ball. And that Stardust thing is different because it's not blue, it's not yellow, it's not purple, it's not, it's like this white crystallized, ball that's really small. You throw it at them and then just like this, all this shit just happens. But calling back to the fight and the dimension breaking, whatever the hell that riff was, I really liked that because how else can you show like power levels in their fights now? Yeah. Because every time it happens, they punch each other. The camera pans out, lots of craters and rocks flatten out, and all these like noises go off and all that. How do you show that these guys are in a different echelon than any other fight we've ever seen before? Is you literally they go to a different dimension, but it happens twice.
Yeah,
they're trying to break out of it. They do it again, and it goes from like this. I forgot what it was, like purplish in the beginning, purplish blue, whatever. They do it again, and it goes white. Yeah. Then they break out after that, and then Gogeta is just giving him the pause. And I love how Gogeta is just like, whenever he's like sliding past Broly's like beam at him, he's just like sliding, like smiling and like jumping. And then he did that one move. And I really, really love this because it was a callback to all these different things in Dragon Ball that you don't really see that much anymore. I don't know what it's called. But whenever he like put his hands up in front of Broly, and the beam came out of the ground.
Oh, that was
yes. Because you see that before in like Dragon Ball games and in the show and all that. But you don't see it as often right now. But whenever he did that, it was just so many different little things. I love when they do moves and like particular things, and that's why I'm excited to hopefully see Broly, come into himself and start bringing back moves we've seen, or even bringing new ones. Because he was doing some of the OG ones because his little key blaster green and all that.
Yeah.
But the mouth blast, like that shit was lit.
Yeah, it was very lit.
But that fight was perfect, man, and it really showed that the Gogeta like power level over Broly.
Yeah, definitely.
Gogeta
Blue, man. Whew.
It goes back and forth. It looks like it's going to come to a conclusion. The fight comes to a conclusion, but it comes to one that's kind of, I guess we would label it a no contest.
Yeah.
How did you guys feel about just sort of the abrupt ending to this fight? Because I know people, I think throughout this entire fight, people were crazy. They were like lifted. They were into it. They're going back and forth. In the Court Street Theater, literally, the kids are standing on the chair and just like, yo!
Yeah, I definitely have something to say about the end. And it is all positive. I just see...
Chile assembles the Dragon Balls, steals pretty much Frieza's Dragon Balls, and makes a wish to essentially send Broly back to his home planet, and that's kind of how the fight ends.
That's how it ends, right?
What are your thoughts on that, Jeff?
Well, obviously, if you're just watching this film and you're kind of in there, which I don't know how many people were watching this movie not really knowing about Super or whatever.
I hope the girlfriends weren't, because I did feel bad a little bit for the girlfriends.
For real, because if they were probably a bit upset.
And not to say that women don't watch Dragon Ball, because there are a few who do, but I'm just saying from the Court Street Theater and how everyone was kind of rolling. I was like, damn, I feel sorry for you guys. You ain't know this was
because they don't know what the meaning of this.
Yeah, it's a testosterone
means to the culture and what it means to Super.
Well, it's a testosterone-filled movie, and there are these fights, and kind of all the boys grow to love it, and then there's a Future album coming out. Everyone's kind of on edge. Like it's everyone's in there sort of it's a lot of testosterone building in the movie, so it's kind of like if you were there, I kind of just like, I'm sorry, this is just how Dragon Ball is.
Yeah, no, I think it was important that it ended this way, just for the purpose of Super and Super continuing, and what it means for the future of the franchise. Make basically the term you guys use in the wrestling world. They're protecting Broly.
Yeah,
they're making sure that he's protected for the future of the series, and he's obviously canon now. So it may have disappointed some people or frustrated some people because the fight was so great, and there was a chance that Broly was about to die. But
about to get sent to God,
right, definitely,
Kami,
right. But they were protecting him and protecting his value as a character. So I like how it happened because it brings back the characters that we met earlier in the movie and their importance, and and of course the little tidbit at the very end, which we'll talk about in a minute, was awesome.
Yeah, but how did you feel about it, Balvin, in terms of just how it kind of, it ends, whether it's satisfying or not, it kind of just depends on the person that you are, but it ends from there.
Yeah, I feel the same way that I felt about Gogeta, honestly. A cop-out that made sense. It was definitely a cop-out, but it made sense in the grand scheme of things because, how else do you save Broly in that situation that's not gonna upset people?
Right.
Right. If he he eats that beam, or Frieza comes and picks him up, or he gets picked up in a ship, something like that.
Or even if he dies,
or if he dies and wished back, then death be nothing in Dragon Ball. Yeah. So I think it made sense. I wasn't mad at it. You know what I'm saying? Like this new person that his only friend, his only person that he has a connection to that's not to use him, saved him. So I think it was a cop out. Obviously, they had to save him somehow. They had to write it in somewhere because they're not going to kill him. He's going to be a staple, I'm sure, eventually. But I think it made sense and it was good. I'm not upset at it, especially because of who it was that saved him. Because that whole character kind of is introduced to be like, Broly's, mediator and all his like struggles and stuff.
Or love interest.
Or love interest. The way she's maneuvering right now, that's
what I was saying, the way they showed her,
That's where she's showing him her titties and all that. So, we'll see. But yeah, I liked it. I mean, it made sense. They have to save Broly somehow. And people, if he would have died and wished back, people are upset. If he would have ate that beam, people will be upset because he was getting destroyed, and that's Gogeta's like final move. I'm kind of upset that was his final move. Wish it was Big Bang Kamehameha, but that's personal.
But I don't think this is. I think that as well. What you just said. They could be also protecting Gogeta for something in the future as well. So I don't know.
I agree. I just wish we would have saw Big Bang Kamehameha.
I hear you.
We see final Kamehameha all the time, and it's just not
all the time.
It's just not as dope, bro. Like
you're absolutely right.
Let's see. I mean, after that, they're all happy and smiles. It's like, okay, they got a wish. He's got a way. Chile and Lemo just decide, we're dipping. Let's get out of here before Frieza kills us, even though Frieza tried to kill him and Gogeta stopped him. My favorite part, randomly, about
Frieza
the fusion.
Was so bummed out, by the way.
Yeah, he was so. First of all, the fusion when he's introduced and he's just like he's come back in like we're Goku and Vegeta fuse, and he is like not fair.
Yeah, right. Come on.
But yeah, Frieza's bummed. He's just like, whatever, I'm leaving. I'm gonna blow up this planet one day. Like this planet will die eventually. And they're poking around the universe. Frieza is looking for the traitors, but they, he senses that they're with Broly, so he's just like, let's leave him alone until he gets domesticated, and then we're gonna come back and kill him. Right. Goku eventually finds them. Yeah, Goku eventually finds them on Planet Vampa, and there's a little bit of a back and forth. It's a great altercation in a sense of just like. My takeaway from this is that this was a great introduction to adding a new Saiyan to the cast. If this is an introduction to adding a new Saiyan to the cast,
absolutely.
Because we've been, we've had, Gohan's not really a fighter. Goten and Trunks are obviously, to me, comedic relief at this point because they haven't really evolved. We've seen future Trunks from various time to time, but we're not really getting into an actual, like, another threat, another someone who challenges and who pushes them to become stronger, and that's really Broly at this point. So I kind of like the way they ended this movie, and it's sort of Goku lending the olive branch to say, like, hey, make sure you're good because I'm going to want to fight you one day. Right. How did everyone feel about the ending?
I personally thought it was perfect. I thought it was a perfect way. If you're going to end it, make sure that you let us know that the whereabouts are known, and Goku, and also, the little smirk from Broly at the end, basically him understanding the situation at hand. Like,
yeah,
I got out of hand. Things went a little bit crazy, but I'm situated now. I'm somewhere where almost like he knew that he enjoyed the fight, even though he was blacked out in the fight. It was just like, I understand the situation now.
I loved it in every single aspect because I liked Goku's hilarious. Goku's just a funny ass nigga. Or the way he conducts himself, he's such a dunce. But it's funny because I liked how they actually gave Chile and the other dude actual personalities. Mm-hmm. They're funny. Like, they're not just there for Broly's sake. They got introduced because of him. So they needed somebody to be his little, sidekicks. But they're funny, man. And like, whenever the dude brought the hammer up and he was like, what are you doing here? And he Goku walks up, ignoring him. He's like, I'm talking to you. Well, I asked you a question. It was funny. And Goku's just like, whatever, I'm not tripping. And then he brings him the Capsule Corp stuff. Hey, we need a Bulma in the real world, bro, because that Capsule Corp shit is wild. Like,
Bulma's so rich, bro.
Having capsules that just have houses inside of them.
They are loaded, bro. They got so much bread.
But the technology of it all.
Like, how are you? Like, they're Iron Man. Like, there's the Iron Man of the Dragon Ball universe, but I loved it because of Goku and Broly. And I loved it that I'm glad Toriyama picked up the mantle, because in retrospect, Broly's OG story is fucking stupid. Yeah. The fact that he hates Goku because Goku cried, right. It'd make entirely more sense if A, it was his father's bidding, or B, Broly, honestly, it wouldn't even make sense for Broly to hate either of them, because Broly has no connection to Planet Vegeta. Yeah. So, it only makes sense if it's his father's bidding that he has any kind of resentment towards these guys. Honestly, I'm sure Broly, if he had any kind of hatred towards them, it would be because they are Saiyans and they tried to kill him whenever he was younger. But they were kids too. So if he has any kind of understanding, then they should have no beef.
Beef, exactly. Exactly.
But I loved it, and I had this confliction in me, because I love OG Broly so much. He's one of my favorite characters ever. Just because of who he is, as far as being the ruthless, brute, hulking character that does not like anybody and wants everyone dead. And he has the ability to do so because nobody can fuck with him, and all the shit that he talked in the movie, and how he was just nothing. And I wish he would have talked more in this movie, but I understand he wasn't conscious, basically. Right. And he hasn't talked very much in his life. I really loved the interaction between him and Broly. Just the smiling Broly did a few times, and he has friends now, because Broly is he's not like insane. Like the OG Broly's a maniac. He's a psychopath. You know, but he's a conscious psychopath.
Right.
Broly was only that way because of Saiyan nature. Once you break through because of a death in the family or a personal relationship, you kind of go into that hate mode. But they're pushing and kind of putting their foot down that this is not that. He is a tortured guy that has no control really over his actions sometimes and hasn't his entire life because it's been his father's bidding. Now he has three new friends basically. And he's with, Goku coming to train and coming to get stronger. And I'm sure Goku is going to ask him for some kind of help or some kind of something down the line. We're definitely going to see him in Super again in the manga or the anime. They're going to, we're going to see it. So, but I am glad that we got to see them fight out of pure, I want to kill you and you want to kill me type situation. I'm glad it's out of the way. Yeah. Because I have a feeling it's going to be the similar thing with Vegeta. But we're not going to see that for a while. And it's just going to be purely training because they have no issue with each other.
Exactly.
The father issue is kind of out of the way. They really don't have any.
All their fathers are dead.
Yeah.
If any of their dads were still alive, there'd probably be the same situation as far as like there'd be some kind of confliction there. But now it's like they have their own free will to do whatever they want to do, and the possibilities are kind of limitless at this point of where this goes. And I'm glad that now, in replacement of probably Trunks, Goten, and Gohan, we have a new one that's stronger than both Vegeta and Goku. So even Goku said it himself, he's like, I thought I peaked. I thought I was strong. Then you came and beat my ass. So I have a lot of work to do.
Right.
So now the biggest question after the TOP was that where does Goku go from here? Where does the Z Fighters go? The whole point of the show is, getting stronger, beating this guy, getting stronger and going here. Obviously we know where the next villain is because of the manga. But we know where the next power struggle is and where the next goal for Goku, at least personally, is that he's not going to stop until he can beat Broly. Yeah. But he wants him to get stronger too. As he said, he wanted to teach him some things about himself and about how to control certain things. So I think Goku mentoring somebody like Broly is going to be fantastic. And I can't wait to see it.
Let's see. Would you have been happy if there was a post-credit scene? Maybe something hinting at a new arc, or maybe something that is just like, you get to see characters from the movie you haven't really seen before or something like that. Would you have been like, do you feel like they should have added it? How do you feel?
I kind of wish they did. And I wish they could have done one of two things. It could have been a gag thing, a joke.
A little gag.
Yeah. Like, they do in the Avengers movies, something that doesn't have any kind of context to the actual story. It could have been a gag, of like on with Broly and them on the planet, or, a shot at Krillin, or like somebody like, like, what did I miss? Or like, what happened here?
Right.
Or they could have, shown a brief for the actual like fans of Super. They could have shown basically the beginning of the manga as a credit scene of like Goku and Vegeta and Bulma back where they were at on that island or whatever, and they're training again. They talk about, man, Broly's really strong, and like Vegeta calls Goku an idiot and all that. Then you see the ship come down of the Space Patrol, and you see like J-Ko or that new guy pop up, and they're like, we need like some kind of Avengers ship.
We need Majin Buu or something like that. Yeah, I would have been happy with that. I mean, I think based on the success of this movie thus far, I think those things are a lot more possible now. I don't know if they thought. I'm sure they're like, when's the next time we're making a Dragon Ball movie?
Right.
Because this is the 20th movie. We're really going in for this. I don't know when the next time we're making this movie. Hell, we don't even know when new episodes are airing. They probably do know, but we don't know. But
is March legit?
No. we would have known 10 times. We would have known 4 months ago, 5 months ago that it was coming back in March. But it's I'll say that. What else? I think I had something else. I'm not fully sure. I don't remember it. But that was the Dragon Ball Super Broly movie in all of its form. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I watched it twice. Loved it. I think we can all say as fans of Dragon Ball that we love this movie. Even despite its shortcomings, we still love this movie. Oh, the second thing, if this unfurled like an arc, like they did in Super, would you be with it?
Yeah, that's actually what I wanted to say. I wasn't necessarily into the whole, hey, here's a movie and here's us making it into an arc as well. But I would definitely watch an arc of this.
I would too.
Yeah.
That's just me. I wouldn't mind at all. So.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of time to expand on different things. It's a lot of time to give characters certain more motivations. I think they could really pull something out of this. Even though Broly has been a movie character for so long, I think bringing him into the actual anime arc itself is fine. And I don't even know if they did it initially for like budget purposes. Like, let's make this movie let's make the first 26 episodes of Super into an arc just for time and budget and things like that. I don't know if that was the reason why, but if they chose to do it with this, I would not be mad. If it brought back Super a little bit earlier because of it, I would not be mad.
And also, they just have a lot. They have a lot that they can expand on. Especially the Saiyans and stuff.
Yep.
They have a lot.
Exactly.
They can putting 24 minutes into those episodes would be.
Yeah, giving Bardock a little bit more context.
Unanswered questions, man.
King Vegeta.
We may not see Vegeta's brother for a whole nother year. All we know.
Right.
Who knows? Who knows if we ever see him? When is Broly coming back? What's the context of him coming back? When's the Frieza situation? Like, there's a lot of different things that can be touched on, and I'm excited for it. And I'm glad that this next arc is something new. I'm sure you guys have been reading. It's an exciting time to be a Dragon Ball fan, nonetheless.
What a time, man!
Right. Yeah, I mean, we're here as we've already referenced the next arc in the Dragon Ball Super. The Galactic Patrol Prisoner arc has started in the manga, so if you want to catch up to that, you could probably catch up to this. By the time this episode drops, I mean, considering how good this is, I mean, it's either dropping tonight or tomorrow. I'm in my mind. I'm just like, I feel like just for fans of this and fans of Dragon Ball, and just like, us being all three people of color talking about Dragon Ball in this sort of forum, I feel, right. and so many fans who are people of color who enjoy Dragon Ball, such as everyone at the Court Street Theater in Brooklyn. Just those, it's like, we waited for a long time to talk about this movie.
Long time.
We're not going to make you guys wait. So I'm going to make sure to upload this as soon as I could. And we'll start pushing it out there as soon as I can.
I'm almost 29, and 12 years ago, 14 years ago, I would have never thought that I would, be talking about this series.
Absolutely.
So heavy right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's definitely amazing. And I can't wait for everybody to listen to this episode and enjoy, because I'm sure, like, we got the tweets, by the way. Most of the people's favorite scenes, now that we've kind of discussed the film, was the Bulma wanting to look younger and Frieza wanting to be taller. Everybody loved those on my tweets. So.
A lot of people went up for Vegeta. To me, it argued a point of, like, maybe I don't know how amazing this would be, but a Vegeta-centric movie.
I mean, it could work, man.
An idea, or a Vegeta-centric arc, or something where Goku's just like, I don't want to say dead,
not dead,
but
you
like,
can't do dead Goku again.
Just
please.
Somewhere he can't escape, and it's just like, it's up to Vegeta to save the world, and everyone's kind of like, fuck. But
it just takes it to the next level.
Yeah, I'm trying to
next level.
I think that would be a great thing. Just generally how people react to Vegeta, but maybe
we'll see, man.
I think folks forget, with Vegeta, like, how smart he is, and how quick to, like, fixing shit he's about. Like, he's not about bullshit.
Yeah.
You don't care how strong you are. You don't care about having a good fight. If you're not Goku, he wants to kill you.
Right.
Bingo. Like, so I think it would be interesting. I'd watch it.
let's see what we got coming up. Oh, actually, this is the season 4 premiere. We're here to tell you, and if you have not seen on the RNC Radio live feed already, we will be preparing for the rest of season 4. And this season 4 will actually be, I mean, we've already covered the Tournament of Power for the first season. We've covered the Android Saga for the second season. We covered the Boo Saga for the third season. This fourth season, we will be heading back into Super for the Future Trunks arc / Goku Black arc. I selfishly planned that in this way because of Black History Month, and I just,
good job,
Black excellent.
Good job, bro.
But we will be covering the Future Trunks Goku Black arc for the next few episodes, so you can expect that pretty soon. I think me and
Mills, one of our favorite characters. So
I mean, we're talking about it. We'll talk about all the little plot holes. We'll talk about all the little cool stuff. I mean, we talk about Vegeta turned Super Saiyan God in this movie. We'll talk about the difference between the manga and the actual anime itself. Mm-hmm. So it's a lot of different things that we're going to get to in this season, in this arc. Can't wait to go through it. For everything RNC Radio, you can, follow RNC Radio Live on Twitter, where you can get all our shows. We have the A Show, which comes out every Wednesday. We have RSPN every Tuesday. But Jeff and Mark, shout out to you guys. Yep. We have a new show, The Cable Box, which, is going through, True Detective Season 3. So you can catch daily recaps for that. I mean, weekly recaps by Pat. So make sure you tune into that. We got the Perfect Playlist up. We got the Perfect Play coming back pretty soon. We also have RNC Radio Live. I mean, RNC Radio, the podcast. Sorry. Coming back pretty soon. It's coming back in March with Justin Davis and Josh P. So make sure you look out for that. And we just got a whole lot of content coming pretty soon. RNC Radio Live doing this thing, man. It is crazy.
Follow Balvin now.
Yeah, follow Balvin too. Lord Balvin. When's the new gifts coming in, bro?
Yeah, bro. What the fuck? Bro?
When's the gifts coming in, bro?
You know what, Mark? I'm actually glad you said that because that's what that segue was for. I segued that, and you just I just threw you an alley.
Oh
Mark
yeah,
just fucking dunked that shit. I need the gifts.
When's the gifts coming in, bro?
Man, I'm waiting for the care package, dog. I don't like delivering nothing that's not top tier quality.
I support it so much.
So I'm waiting for the care pack. I might drop a few little, a little something tonight. Just a little preview.
Right.
But for the big shit though. I'm waiting for the care package to come through because I need for that. I can't do it a disservice. I'm not pulling no Tumblr Avengers Infinity War off camera. Gifts of a small screen. I'm not doing that. I get it. I got. Respect the craft, respect the artist,
Listen, you can follow Balvin at Lord Balvin on Twitter. Make sure you follow him and look out for the gifts, man. The gifts are they're the best part.
Number one movie in America, Wednesday and Thursday, Dragon Ball Super. All hail the king.
Oh my God. Listen, we're here. It is live. Thank you guys for tuning in to RNC Radio. Thank you guys for tuning in to The Lookout. We look forward to bringing you season 4 for the rest of these next couple of weeks. So make sure you stay tuned. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share. Please share. If you love Dragon Ball, if you love, your fellow people of color, or if you just love Dragon Ball in general, please share. Let's make this podcast the greatest thing ever and just continue to share the love of Dragon Ball in this community itself. Thank you guys for tuning in. My name is Mills. That is the Platinum Chanel boy, Jeff. Mm-hmm. That was also Balvin on the phone. Shout out to him as well, bro.
Yeah.
We are out. Meet us at the Lookout for next time, bro. Yes, Take care.